Welcome to the Football Forecast, your ultimate guide to the NFL week ahead. Get ready as we dive deep into the biggest matchups, analyze key player performances, and break down the strategies that could make or break your favorite team's chances. Whether you're looking to dominate your fantasy league, make smart picks and bets, or simply stay ahead of the game, we've got you covered with insights and predictions. So buckle up, football fans. It's time to get your game face on for another action-packed week in the NFL. While only one team can hoist the trophy at the end, it all starts with the forecast. All right, welcome back to the Football Forecast. We are back. We are halfway through the NFL regular season. A lot to get into. But before we do all that, make sure you follow the show on social media at TFB Forecast, ETB, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. You know the deal. By now, we put out all the clips. We put out Thursday, Sunday, Monday, locks of the week, Crybaby of the week, which I came up with and I'm kind of enjoying now because it's most likely going to be the Dallas Cowboys and Jerry Jones most of the time. So make sure you enjoy those as well. Follow this show and all the other shows, youtube.com/ETB Network. Very close to 900 subscribers. Please like and subscribe. And as the kids say, hit the notification bell because I don't really say that enough on here. So please hit the notification bell. And if you can't watch, listen to the Football Forecast wherever you get your podcasts, Apple, Spotify, and every other audio platform under the sun, including YouTube Premium. So please check us out there as well. And the Football Forecast and the ETB Network presented by Playback. Watching sports is more fun with others, but we spend too much of our time watching alone. Playback is a virtual space where communities can stream live sports together with everyone perfectly synced up. Creators can hop on stage, deliver their own play-by-play analysis and commentary, and invite viewers up for Q&A. Playback makes watching sports fully interactive and a social experience. From playing fantasy sports, repping your favorite players and teams, and watching with the commentators and communities you care about. Win or lose, sports are best enjoyed together. Join our community by going to playback.tv/ETB Network to find out more, including our live stream schedule. We've been having some fun with NBA whip-around shows. We're working on some other NBA streams, so just stay alert on our ETB Network social medias for all that information as well. Before we get into this week, I wanted to briefly hit Thursday Night Football because that was an incredible game. Incredible game. We can't say it's without controversy.
It's an incredible – it was a great game, but was also bad for the NFL. It is not a good day in Roger Goodell's offices today.
Well,
no, it's not.
I can laugh just because the Bengals lost again, but they shouldn't have lost. Or I don't even know if I can say that.
I wouldn't say they shouldn't have lost, but maybe they could have won if they made the right calls.
I mean, the 2-point conversion and
that 2-point conversion, blatant hold, blatant hands to the face.
Yes, they even said roughing the passer could have been called.
Right, roughing the passer. By the way, I mean, I'm not the first person to say this. A whole lot of people were saying this on social media, so I'm not going to say I came up with this. But a lot of people were saying if that happened to the Chiefs, they would have got the call.
I don't know. I don't know if I fully disagree with that.
You don't think the Chiefs would have gotten that call?
I think they would have.
I think they probably would have. I think Mahomes probably gets that call.
So you're saying it's the Tom Brady effect of penalties?
A little bit. I think stars will get those calls where or like the LeBron effect.
I mean, the thing is though, that's two really good quarterbacks. So like when you look at it, does the effect even come into play?
What did they say though? There was 7 combined touchdowns last night between the two quarterbacks.
It was a shootout. It was like a Big 12 NFL game.
And Jamar Chase had video game numbers. I think he had 3 touchdowns on Thursday night.
Yeah.
I mean, I kind of feel bad. Anthony said this well. Anthony said this well in the chat when we were talking that basically you got to feel bad for Jamar a little bit because the defense kind of blew up an amazing performance by him. And actually, I'll let Anthony say it himself because he's the one who said it well. So just tell everybody what you said because I think you were right on the money with it.
Yeah, I think obviously you got to feel bad for Jamar Chase and you also got to feel bad for Joe Burrow.
I mean, he's been doing everything he can to carry his team, and his offensive line hasn't been too well. I mean, he's practically getting hit on every play, but he's still able to complete passes to Jamar Chase. But man, this defense, I mean, look at the game that the Bengals have played. All their wins have been against bad teams and against bad offenses. So, I mean, whenever this team plays against a good offense, I mean, you can pretty much say that the defense is going to choke it away. And I feel bad for Joe Burrow. Like I said, I think, Josh Allen, Pat Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, and Joe Burrow are the new generation of, Rodgers, Manning, and Brady and Breeze. And I feel like of the four right now, Joe Burrow might be in the worst situation. Well, you also look at it, too. When the Bengals were in the Super Bowl a couple years ago against the Rams, they just had a great defense. So.
Yeah, so I just wanted to get that in briefly because that was an incredible game. What was the final score? Was 35-34?
35-34.
Yeah,
I feel
35,
stupid.
35,
I had the
34.
Ravens. Well,
Yeah.
I had the Ravens minus 6.5. By the way, the Ravens, I mean, for people talking about the penalties that weren't called, they were doing a great impression of the Jets that final drive.
Oh, jeez.
Because the Bengals got down the field mostly with penalties.
It's true.
I mean, the Bengals, they couldn't really move the ball at all for the most part, but the Ravens just gifted it to them.
I mean, I don't know. I know, Ben, the way you reacted after the 2-point conversion in our chat, you thought he should fire Zach Taylor. I don't know if I'd go that far.
Well,
but
he's been heavily scrutinized. I mean, outside of that, he's been heavily scrutinized by the fans for a while. And I just think that at that point in time, I understand the Bengals defense was horrific. And, I think the Ravens had 2 timeouts. So theoretically, they could have won it still in regulation. But you obviously, in that case, I understand some people want to say go for 2. And obviously, but by all means, go ahead. I just think that they should have taken the points there and maybe had the Ravens to try to go all the way down.
Yeah.
Because 30 seconds is not a ton of time.
Because the thing is, I think they should have kicked the field goal. I mean, the extra point and tied it up. Because the thing is, if you miss it, the game's over. But if you make it, the game's still not over because Lamar Jackson still has more than 30 seconds to get down the field.
But at least you're almost guaranteeing overtime in that sense, as long as Lamar doesn't
You
go
don't
down.
think Lamar Jackson can get down the field and kick a field goal in 30 seconds?
I'm just saying you have a chance of the game surviving, at least if you tie. But
Right, exactly.
But all right. I just wanted to get into that because that game was insane. That was a huge game of Thursday Night Football.
It is so bad for the NFL. It is just
bad.
so bad. The officiating has been so bad this year.
It's been really bad. And I think the Bengals should have at least had another chance at that 2-point conversion. At least.
But it's like if you watch the game, you could see the defensive player, like he puts his helmet, he's like, oh my God, I screwed up bad.
The other thing is also, I think if they do get the penalty, I wonder if they switch that up and go for the extra point. Because that's what happens a lot of times when you get the break to go again. But that's neither here nor there. Obviously, the referee blew it. All right, let's move on to Week 10 as we are through the halfway point. And we start in ye olde Germany with the Giants and the Panthers. And actually, I just stole your thunder, but go ahead, John.
Oh, no, that's all right. You only brought up the matchup. There's another element to this. And Zan and Nick D, it's good to see you guys for the first time this season. But yes, and the Giants.
It's more accurate for us to say that to you.
Yes. No, absolutely. You're right. But as Nick said, let's go to Germany where it's the Giants and the Panthers. I don't know what Germany did to deserve this matchup, but nevertheless, it is football on a Sunday morning, guys. And we got Rich Eisen, Kurt Warner, Jamie Erdahl, and Sarah Walsh on the NFL Network to get us going this Sunday morning as Daniel Jones and the Giants and Bryce Young and the Carolina Panthers do battle. And somebody's got to be a favorite here. The Giants a 6.5-point favorite. And since I'm the Giant fan, I'll take this one first. And, I think it's appropriate. Both of these teams are so bad that I think it's punishment for them to go overseas and play this game. Now, when you look at this real quick, you have the worst scoring offense in the league, the Giants, going up against the worst scoring defense in the league in the Panthers. So I try and look at it and I'm like, who do I give an advantage to? Well, the Giants have at least shown some signs on life and have shown some life on offense this year, and they do lead the league in sacks. And despite the Panthers' win last Sunday, they were still outgained by nearly 200 yards, and they lost the turnover battle. So honestly, it's hard to see this be anything but Big Blue minus the 6.5 in Munich. So I am going to take the money and lay the 6.5 with my Giants against the Panthers. Let's see. Let's go to Ben.
Yeah, so, this is kind of the epitome of the toilet bowl, I guess, for the weekend. You just got 2 teams and just 2 really bad teams. But the Panthers did win last week against the Saints with Derek Carr back.
Now, the Saints, I don't think are a great team, but the Panthers really for a while before. And of course, I picked them as my lock of the week against the Panthers when the previous weeks beforehand, they were getting absolutely blown out. Of course, it figures. But anyway, I think this game feels close to me. This line, honestly, I think is a little too big. And you might be asking, well, why is this a little too big with the Giants probably being the better team? The thing is, like, they're both very similar. The records are very similar. Their offensive line for the Giants isn't great. The Panthers, they won last week, so something's got to give. I got the Giants winning here, but I think that the Panthers take the 6.5 here. So I think that I'm going to go with here with split. I'm going to say Giants win, but the Panthers cover.
What about you, Nick Morganson?
Yeah, this is Germany. Whenever you travel overseas, you have no idea what's going to happen whatsoever. I would almost throw the spread out the window because you have no idea what's going to happen. I'm going to make a wild pick here just for the sake of it. I'm taking the Panthers to win outright here just because I have no faith in the Giants right now whatsoever. Their quarterback situation is a mess. They didn't know who they were going to start. The Panthers, it doesn't really matter who starts. As long as they play a decent game, they have a chance to win or lose, however you want to put it, even though Bryce Young managed to win last week and got a coach fired for the second time now in history. So yeah, since this game is kind of wild, I'm just going to make a wild pick. Panthers win outright.
Yeah, it's a wild pick and a wild explanation as to why. What about you, Zan?
Yeah, I mean, this game is arguably one of the worst on the schedule. I don't like either of these teams, but I'm not loving the way the Giants are playing, and it seems like the Panthers are slowly but surely learning how to win in garbage time. This, to me, is an easy pick. I like the Panthers in the outright upset win. I just think the Giants are going nowhere. So give me Carolina to win 2 in a row somehow, some way. And if you would have told me that they would win, that they would win 2 games in a row a few weeks ago after how poorly they looked the last month, I wouldn't have believed it. But I think the Saints game convinced me that they're actually playing better football than people are giving them credit for, which I think makes their Las Vegas win look a little better, considering how the Raiders just have been so inconsistent over the last month too. So give me the Panthers.
Nick D, what about you?
The Giants. To me, this is basically a pick'em game. I think, first of all, I think the Panthers are coming off a really big high. It feels like a classic letdown game. Although it's hard to call it a letdown if it's the Panthers. The whole season's kind of a letdown. But I'll say the Giants are not a good team. I don't dispute any of that, but they're not even close to the level that the Panthers are. And the other reason is whenever the Panthers lose, they lose by really big margins. They lose by really, really big margins. And the Giants have shown that they can at least keep it competitive against fairly decent teams like the Commanders, the Steelers, the Bengals. So I just think that these two teams are just not even close. Like the Giants are so much better than the Panthers. But the Panthers, to me, it's just like I don't see them losing by a small margin. They will lose by a big margin because that's always what's happened throughout the season.
Anthony?
Wow.
Yeah, both these teams are, very awful. And honestly, if you have a long Saturday night, this is the perfect game to just sleep in and miss.
Yeah, I agree.
But
I'm going to
usually
be tailgating during this game. I'm not even going to be watching it. I'm going to be tailgating.
That's
But
right.
usually when the Giants lose and don't play good, it's usually because the defense is destroying their offense. And obviously with as bad as Daniel Jones and the offense has been, that usually happens more often than not. But with the Panthers defense just being so atrocious, they're not going to be able to completely shut out the Giants offense, I don't think. I mean, they can't shut down anybody. And I understand they did win last week, and Bryce Young may have had his best game as a pro. But honestly, the Saints should have won that game. They seem like the better team. As bad as the Saints have been, they probably were the better team in that game, and Carolina probably got lucky. So I do think the Giants are going to win, but neither of these teams are good enough to cover a point spread like that. So I'm going to go with the Giants, no cover.
And Grant, what do you have to wrap us up in game 1?
So first off, I have to reiterate, I'm sorry that I didn't get to hear everyone's takes on this. I again forgot that some of you guys are an hour ahead. So I joined a little late, but thank God I didn't miss a game. I guess I got lucky. But I the Panthers, even though they've, I agree with whoever's take it was to say that this is the toilet bowl game of the week. I mean,
That was Ben. Yeah.
thank you, Ben. I mean, I don't even know why this game is going to Germany. I mean, there's no. I mean,
There's no
Grant,
redeeming
Grant,
factor.
if you don't know, Grant,
It was a
if
part
you
of
don't
the
know out
Treaty
of
of
all people,
Versailles.
nobody knows. If you don't know, nobody knows.
So I mean, and I mean the Giants have been playing terrible, and even though with the Panthers winning the last game, the last couple games, I'm gonna take the Giants to win, but the Giants cannot cover 6.5. So I'll take the Giants to win, but no cover.
All right, so we are split. We are all over the board here in Germany. I'm just going to make one. I'm going to make one thing real quick before we move on here as the Giants fan. And this will be one of my bold takes here. If Daniel Jones lays an absolute dud here on Sunday, then this is going to be his last start of the season. I think
that's a good take. I think that's a good take.
Well, think about that. I think you go to Tommy DeVito the rest of the way for two reasons. Number one, you'd be 2-8. You really don't have any, real reason to play out the string. Number one. Number two, your Giants will be on a bye week next week, so it would give DeVito 2 weeks to go. So, I mean, at that point, what do you do? But I don't see him doing that because the Panthers' defense is so bad. This really should be a get-right game. And, the Giants play better on the road than they do at home. So,
which is scary.
But that's been their thing for years now. So,
well, I just want to give you one because I was looking at the total for this game.
Yeah.
40.5 total over/under.
You think it's going to be under?
Oh, I
don't agree with that. I think it's going to be over. Now I know that Slayton is not playing. It's going to give Jalen Hyland more opportunities, but the Panthers' defense is almost historically bad, and the Giants' secondary can be thrown upon. I actually think this game might get a little loose, but at the end of the day, I do think that I'm going to take the Giants to win and cover. We're all split here in Munich, so we'll find out.
I think it's an under game actually because the Panthers don't normally put up a lot of points.
And again, it's Germany.
The Giants, I think they'll win solidly. I think this probably goes under.
We'll find out what happens there.
I can see the Giants winning like 20-7 or 20-10 or something like that.
Well, that's also a possibility too. We'll find out. All right, let's get back to the States, guys. Ben, we've got Kevin Kugler, Daryl Moose Johnston, and Laura Oakman on Fox. It is your New England Patriots against Zan and Grant's Chicago Bears, and the Bears a 6-point favorite at Soldier Field, Ben.
Yeah, well, Zan, I hope you enjoy the game on Sunday, but I really hope that you guys have a really bad game. But all jokes aside, Zan, I really hope you have a good time, man. I know you mentioned to me when I actually saw you in the city in the summertime that the Patriots are playing the Bears. So now we get to talk about it. And so for me, the Patriots have been close in a lot of these games, and I really like the way that Drake May has been playing. But I'm going to go with Chicago here. I think that they're going to have a really good game. It's going to be close.
Surprised. You're picking against your team again.
Well, Zan, one thing is that every single time I've been picking my team this year, they lost.
So you have Anthony syndrome.
I've had Anthony syndrome as of late, and I just have not really expressed that. So, yeah, I think I'm going to turn the tide and go against my team once again. And I'm going to have the Bears to cover, but it's going to be a close game.
You were right against the spread, though, last week, Ben, just to be fair. All right, we're going to go a little out of order for this game. Zan, let me go to you next. What do you have?
Yeah, sure. So I think the Bears are going to win, too. I even said it on Bander's breakdown this week that this is a must-win game for the Bears because their next 6-7 games, they probably won't be favored in very many of them. Maybe not even any of them, to be quite honest with you. And if there's any chance to get above 500, this might be their only opportunity. So I'm gonna pick them to win, but I'm gonna be very cautious and say that I only think they're gonna win. I honestly don't think this Bears team, with the current state of the coaching staff, is good enough to cover. So I'm gonna go conservative down the middle and say Bears no cover. I think the Patriots play well enough to win. In fact, I actually think New England will be leading most of the game, and Caleb Williams will have to find his way back into it to try to come back and win. I actually think the Bears win by 3. It'll be a 3-point game, probably around 24-21 or 27-24, somewhere in there. So I like a split call, if you will, for this one. So
What about you, Grant?
So just to clarify, I would have let Zahn go first anyway because he's been here longer than me. But for me, I mean, I do think the Bears will win, but if there's anything that holds them back from winning, it's this coaching staff, and I'm gonna throw a little bit of a hot take here. Well, it might not be for me and Zahn, but if somehow in some terrible fashion the Bears lose this game, this will be the game that Matt Eberflus gets fired.
Wow. Okay.
I hope
Okay.
it happens.
Nick Morganson?
Yeah. I think this is a Bears no cover game. I think that has it written all over this game, to be honest. There's been a lot of issues with the coaching
Nick,
staff.
I don't mean to interrupt. Grant, just to clarify in your pick, are you picking the Bears to win outright, or are you picking them like me not to cover the spread?
I'll pick them. I'll pick them to win and cover, just to be a little different from you.
Okay. Yeah. So basically, excuse me, what I was saying, this has Bears no cover written all over it just because of the issues going on with the coaching staff. In my opinion, Eberflus shouldn't have not be coaching this team this year. That's more of my hot take in the way I look at it.
That's a good opinion. I can agree with that.
Eberflus somehow is like a cat. He's got 9 lives, and somehow he's survived. The offensive coordinator situation is not great. The Caleb Williams is not. I think the reason that he's struggling in some aspects is because of this coaching staff.
Oh,
and
it is.
he can't get comfortable under this coaching staff. He's going to need a new coaching regime. But is that really that might impede his progress going forward? I don't know.
Yeah, you never know. And
So-
I even mentioned it on the show. A couple days ago, where I'm like, look at the past few Bears quarterbacks. They've had one coaching staff the first year and a brand new coaching staff the second year, and have regressed every single time.
And that's a recipe for disaster when the coaching staff is not consistent. So I think they will win just because, sorry, Ben, I think the Patriots are a little bit inconsistent. And
You're not wrong. It's fine.
so it's some weeks they play well, like when they beat the Jets, or they play horrible against other teams. So, yeah, Bears win. I think it's going to be a field goal game. I think they pull it out in the end.
Nick D?
Nick, can I add something real quick? I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I do agree with you with your regression from year 1 to year 2 with the new coaching staff, but I think if Ryan Poles and whoever is on the the head coaching search committee makes the right decision and hires Ben Johnson, I think that could be different this time.
I don't think Ben Johnson leaves Detroit. That's just my opinion.
I don't think so either. And he is a pretty big supporter of the Bears. I think Ben Johnson is a pipe dream at this point rather than a potential reality.
I think he's better off staying in Detroit than going for a head coaching job.
Yeah.
All right, continue.
Nick D, what do you have?
I like the Bears. I think they just lost 2 games in a row. I think you're due for a win. One thing you guys didn't point out is that the Bears, when you look at like home and road games, the Bears are the most night and day. They're undefeated at home and they still haven't won on the road. The last 2 games they lost were both on the road to very good teams, and if not for a Hail Mary from the Commanders, they would have won that game. So I'm not gonna, even though the coaching for the Bears.
Wait. Are you constituting Arizona as a very good team? Because I don't know. I think that
I do.
I think they've been playing good football.
They're a pretty good team, Arizona.
I'm even giving them more credit, and I didn't give them credit early on.
I would say they are a pretty good team.
I don't know. I think
they've gotten a lot better.
I think simply put, they're a decent team in a bad division. That's why they're good.
But are they in a bad division? They're in a division with the Niners.
That's a good point.
And the Rams.
Niners
They're going to see Mac back too.
I don't know.
You can't say it's a bad division. It's a fairly good division that was heavily injured.
That's perfect. That's a perfect way of putting it.
They might not have good records, but that doesn't mean they're not good teams.
Right.
So no, I do think the Cardinals are a good team, and yeah, that's not a great loss. They lost by a big margin. I get that, but they could have beaten the Commanders. The Commanders are one of the hottest teams in the NFL, and they still almost did it on the road. And yeah, this
They were ahead until the last play.
Exactly. Maybe if not for that defensive back taunting the fans at the end, maybe they would have they would have won that game. So, like, just the talent gap between these two teams is night and day. It is just night and day. And the coaching isn't great, but the quarterback situation for the Bears is better, and the team is just more talented. And they're playing at home. So I'm going with the Bears to win by a touchdown or more.
Anthony, what do you have?
Yeah, I can see this being a very low-scoring game. I mean, you guys pretty much said it already. Honestly, the Bears, their offensive coordinator is definitely, I think, the one holding back Caleb Williams. I think Caleb Williams is still very, very talented, and I don't have any issues with him. It's definitely the OC. I know the Bears, also have some injuries on defense, and that's tough because that's been the strength and, has been what's been giving this team, over the hump and against a lot of these teams that they've won against. So I'm going to go Bears no cover. I just don't think that their offense and offensive coordinator is good enough to cover. And the Patriots do surprisingly can play good defense. I like Christian Gonzalez, and I like some of these pieces that the Patriots do have on defense. So I'm going to go Bears no cover.
Yeah, Bears 12th ranked defense will make him win this game, but I'm taking the Patriots plus 6 points because to me right now the quarterback and the head coach are better with the Patriots right now than they are with the Bears. I think the Bears have the better team, but if I'm banking based on coach and quarterback, it's with the Patriots. So, I mean, Drake May's numbers in his first 4 starts have been outstanding, guys. I mean, they've been way better than Caleb Williams has done this year, but he's also had to do more versus Caleb. But I think it actually is going to be an entertaining close game. I'll take the Bears to win, though, but I'll take the Patriots getting the 6 points there at Soldier Field. It's an Andrew Catalon, Tiki Barber, Jason McCourty, AJ Ross special on CBS. Anthony, it's your Buffalo Bills heading to Indianapolis. Josh Allen, the Bills, against Joe Flacco and the Indianapolis Colts. And at Lucas Oil Stadium, the Bills a 4-point favorite.
Yeah, probably about to shock everybody right here, but I mean, don't take it from me. I haven't got the Bills right, but I think the Colts are going to win the game.
Whoa!
Wow.
I think last week Joe Flacco did not play well. He's going to have a bounce back game, and that's exactly what Joe Flacco does. He'll have a subpar game, and then he'll come out the next game and be throwing the pigskin all over the field. And honestly, the Bills are due for a loss. They almost should have lost last week. Very, very close game, man. Colts desperately need a win. Bills have some injuries. Kean Coleman is dealing with injuries. Amari Cooper, we don't know if he's going to play or not. So this team has definitely got some injuries still going. The Colts desperately need a win. And the Bills right now, like I said, they're running high. They got a huge lead on their division. So they're kind of playing with house money right now in terms of where they rank in their division and division standings. So I think this is perfectly set up for a down game for the Bills and a good performance by the Colts. So surprisingly, I'm going to go with the Colts to win in the upset.
And Grant, what about you?
Actually, I was going to take the Bills until until Ben brought up all those points, and so I'm going to take the Colts to win as well.
Oh, I thought I was going to be bold. I'm taking the Colts to cover. I'm going to still take the Bills to win. But see, the thing is, the Bills have definitely been dominant, but not as much on the road. Their average margin of victory on the road is much less than it is at home. I feel like if Jonathan Taylor can run the ball, I think that helps them. I don't know if Joe Flacco is going to be able to throw on this defense. Also, Michael Pittman is still out, but it seems like he's been out for the whole season. His name's rarely been mentioned. But I also feel like this could be a little game where the Bills could be looking ahead to the big game against the Chiefs next week, maybe taking this one for granted. So I got the Colts to keep this game really close. I'll take the Bills to win, but give me the 4 points with the Colts. And also, that line's a little fishy, too. I thought the Bills would have been laying a little bit more than the 4. So maybe that's also telling me a little something, too. So I'll take the Colts to at least keep it inside this number, Ben.
Yeah, I'm taking the Bills here. I really haven't been liking how the way the Colts have been the last couple games. Joe Flacco, I don't know if that dream is going south, right? It's kind of starting to slip a little bit as of late. But I don't know. I like the Bills here. They've been just a much better team as of late. Josh Allen has been playing incredible. So I'm going to take the 4 here for the Bills.
Yeah, this is a little odd, just hearing everybody taking the Colts over the Bills. The Bills are the much better team. in this scenario. It's not even a close thought. Like, I can't believe we're mentioning the Colts in the same sentence as the Bills. I mean, they just had a quarterback situation issue of a guy who said he was too tired to play on the field. I understand Flacco has been great, but there's still some issues going on. I just looked at the practice report. Pittman is officially out for the game. So that's a big problem. They don't have their number one guy. But, Johnny, you're right. He hasn't been there all year. And also, I don't trust JT to have consistent games back-to-back running for as many yards as he did. That scares me a little bit.
Good defense. I like the Colts. I like the Bills have a good defense. So that
I will add though, the Bills have struggled against running backs this year.
That's
That has been one of their
exactly.
killers against running backs.
True. But I just think the Bills are a better team in this scenario. Like the Colts, like they win games that they shouldn't win. They lose games that they should win. I think the Bills are a better team, and I'm obviously going to take Josh Allen over Flacco. Give me a cover.
He also killed me with my lock last week, by the way. I'm just saying. Zan, go ahead.
Yeah, I don't know what you guys were talking about with the Colts keeping it close with the Bills. I think the Bills go into Indy on a business trip and smash them. I think this is just a case of, the potential momentum shift. It being mid to late season. Maybe the Bills are due for a downer. This is not the week for it. And right now, this version of Josh Allen is miles better than this version of Joe Flacco. And I understand, and I understand the comment from Joe Flacco is, he has one bad game and the next week he looks really good. No, not with this. Not with this dysfunctional mess that can't seem to keep keep a lead to save themselves. So give me the Bills to cover. I'm not entirely comfortable with picking them as a lock, so we're going to stay away from this as a lock for now, just given that the game is in Indy and sometimes the Colts play really well at home, but this is the game the Bills should win comfortably. So give me the Bills to cover and get out of Indy with a critical AFC win to just keep their standing up in the top half of the conference, if you will.
And Nick D.
Yeah, I agree with Zan and Nick. I don't know what you guys are on the bottom of the screen are thinking with the Colts. I don't think the Colts will keep this close. Keep in mind, the Bills are 7-2 right now. I think you guys are really just underestimating the Bills. You're just totally overlooking them. They're 7-2 right now, and their only two losses were road games against the Texans and the Ravens. I mean, none of their losses are anything like this.
Two good teams, I might add.
Yeah, two good teams, and not only that, but against mediocre and bad teams, the Bills win by big margins. They're not barely winning these games. They're winning these games by big margins, by at least a touchdown or more. So based on what I've seen from the Bills and the fact that the Colts are kind of a dysfunctional mess right now, I mean, based on what I've seen, the Bills would probably win this by a lot.
Do you guys realize that ever since Anthony Richardson got benched, Flacco's looked worse?
Yes.
Okay, so real quick about that. The one thing I'll say real quick about that is Joe Flacco was in a better and more favorable system with the Browns than he was with the Colts, because the Browns at least also had a very good defense. The Colts defense is not great. The offensive, it's not the same team. That's
the Browns had weapons offensively a little bit too.
That's what I'm saying. They had a better team. I think they're asking Flacco to do more. And see, me personally, I'm not thinking that Flacco needs to do as much. I think it is more of a ground game if they're going to keep it close, which I think they're going to. And I just feel like it could even be the average margin of victory for the Bills is less on the road than it is at home. So I'm like I said, I'm going to be bold this week. I'm not going to go bold to go the full upset special, but I'm going to be bold, but I'm going to keep it inside the number. That's what I'm going to do. So we're split here as well at Lucas Oil Stadium. All right, first fast track game of the week. Nick Morganson, Adam Amin, Mark Sanchez, Christina Pink special on Fox. As we head to Everbank Stadium, it's the Minnesota Vikings. No, I got the Vikings as the first one.
Oh, do you? Sorry.
Yeah. That's okay. You're good. So it's the Vikings laying a touchdown on the road against the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Yeah, there's not much to say here. Quarterback's out. Mac Jones is starting. The Vikings are a much better team offensively. Sam Darnold looks great. Justin Jefferson looked great. Give me a cover.
Dan?
Yeah, I like Vikings here, and given all the Jaguars injuries, I'm going to go bold and say that Minnesota is going to be my lock of the week. This is a solid pick here. I think Minnesota's due to go on a bit of a winning streak, and I think it continues this week for yet another business trip type game against a really, really bad team. So,
Nick D?
Yeah, I'm going to go with the Vikings. This is going to be my lock of the week. You know it's a bad situation when it's a bad thing that Trevor Lawrence is hurt?
It's a good point.
Like it's a downgrade from him. I didn't know it could get much lower than that. So
Well, Mac Jones is definitely lower than him, for sure.
yeah, so I don't think this is going to be good.
Anthony?
Yeah, I mean, I know the Jaguars have been competitive, but at the end of the day, they were still losing. And now you go from Trevor Lawrence to Mac Jones. I mean, you go from being competitive and losing to, I think, just getting straight out blown out now at this point. So I think those guys stole my thunder because I'm also going with the Vikings as my lock of the week as well.
Grant?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not trying to copy everyone here, but I mean, Vikings have been playing, like absolutely, it's a Cinderella story kind of, because Sam Darnold has been in terrible situations where he's been. This is the first, great situation he's been with a competent head coach, a plethora of weapons. So I don't mean to copy everyone so far, but this is my lock of the week as well.
Well, I think we're going to set a record here. So let's see. Backup quarterback for the Jaguars against a Brian Flores Vikings defense. And then on the other side, Justin Jefferson going up against the Jags' last-ranked pass defense. That equals a big win for the Vikings on the road. And plus, we all know how the Jaguars struggle at Everbank Stadium. Lock of the week. Give me the Vikings laying the touchdown against the Jaguars. Ben?
Wow.
Yeah, this won't be my lock of the week, but I do have the Vikings to cover. One thing that we haven't talked about is how good Brian Flores has been against his quarterbacks in general. The Vikings defense has been absolutely electric all year. Mac, I love you, but you're going to get absolutely shelled in this game on Sunday.
There you go.
Take the money.
So just the regular cha-ching. So it's a clean sweep at Jacksonville, and not one, not two, not three, not four, but 5 bench locks on the Minnesota Vikings against the Jacksonville Jaguars, which I believe, Nick, in the 3 years that I've done this, I think that is a record. That's got to be a first.
Actually, we just kind of break in, or it's technically 6 because Tom actually has the Vikings as his lock of the week too.
Wow. So that is a record. I'll just go out on the record and say right now that is a record. 6
That means
bench
we're all going
locks.
to be wrong then.
You know what? This feels like NFL Live when they have that clean sweep and it all bites us. I think we'll be on Old Takes Exposed.
Wait, so Ben and I are on an island.
Does Pat have it too?
I don't have
know
his picks yet.
Oh, so we could have 7. But
So Ben and I are on an island right now.
Well, in not taking a lock, but you are taking the Vikings to win this game. So
Yeah.
and to win and cover. So if the Jaguars cover or if they win this game outright, we will be on Old Takes Exposed next week.
Oh, good.
All right, next fast track. Nick D, it's a Kevin Harlan, Trent Green, Melanie Collins special on CBS. Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs are laying over a touchdown at GHA Field at Arrowhead Stadium up against Bo Nix and the Denver Broncos.
The Chiefs. I like them to win by 2 touchdowns or more. This game is not even really close.
Anthony?
Yeah, we know the Broncos have been playing a lot better than what we thought preseason, but we've seen what happened when they went up against a real team in the Ravens. Same thing's going to happen this game. I think the Chiefs are going to blow them out, so give me the Chiefs to win and cover.
Grant?
Yeah, there's no explanation here. I mean, the Chiefs, as long as you have Patrick Mahomes, you are always going to be the deadly, the most deadly team in the history of football. And then you have Andy Reid calling your plays, and don't get me wrong, Bo Nix and the Broncos have been playing great, but they finally had their wake-up call with great teams to play last week, and this situation is no different. Winning and cover for the Chiefs.
Yeah, so straight up, this game's easy, but you add the spread. That's where it gets to be a little bit tricky. But I got to see them do it. I'm going to take the Chiefs minus the 7.5 here because, I mean, it's the signs point to the Broncos keeping it close, but I just don't. because you don't see them laying another clunker like they did last week. The Chiefs' average margin of victory in this season's 7 points. But Patrick Mahomes, bum ankle or not, is still Patrick Mahomes, and I think Bo Nix is going to struggle against Steve Spagnuolo's defense. So I'll take the Chiefs minus the 7.5. Ben?
Yeah, you guys have been talking about domination and the predictions in your game. So what does that tell me? This is my lock of the week.
Oh,
And I'm assuming that's for the Chiefs, right?
Yes.
Okay.
I would hope
yeah,
so.
the Broncos offense is not good. A lot of their wins have been against not great teams. And, there's so much your defense can do. And, yeah, they got DeAndre Hopkins. Thanks a lot, Tennessee, because he's starting now. So give me the Chiefs here to cover, and it's my lock of the week.
Nick?
Yeah, this is easy. Chiefs are going to be 10-0. Mahomes versus Bo Nix. I really don't have to say much more. It's a mismatch. It's a big, big, big mismatch. Take the money.
And Zan?
KC. Honestly, these were the two locks I was between, so I think I'm okay either with my pick. But I just think Kansas City at home is a wagon. I don't see they lose. No way.
All right, so another clean sweep this time in Kansas City. All right, Zan, we ended with you there. We'll start with you here. One more fast track game in the early window. Joe Davis, Greg Olson, Pam Oliver special on Fox. It is Kirk Cousins and the Atlanta Falcons heading to the Superdome in New Orleans to take on the New Orleans Saints and Derek Carr. And the Falcons a 3.5-point favorite.
Yeah, I mean, I just think the Saints are so depleted right now, and I think Atlanta has played pretty well against its division, so give me the Falcons on the road to cover pretty comfortably. I think I actually like them by 2 touchdowns. So give me Cousins to win on the road.
Nick D?
I like the Saints. I really do. Plus 3.5, that extra half a point scares me. This is like a rivalry game, so I think the Saints are going to play them tough. And it's also a get-right game after pathetically losing to the Panthers, which makes me feel better about the Jets losing to the Broncos because this one takes the cake. But this will be a close game. I think it's within a field goal. I say the Falcons probably win but don't cover. We've seen what the Saints are capable of with Derek Carr.
Okay.
We've seen what they're capable of. And they're capable of losing. Like against the Panthers, but they're also capable of blowing teams out like they did against Dallas. So, I think that the Saints bring their A game because I think the Saints will be up to play this game. It is a rivalry game. So I think it's close. I'd say the Falcons probably win by a field goal.
Anthony?
The Falcons don't cover.
Yeah, I understand where Nick D's coming from, but my question is, with all the injuries, who's Derek Carr going to throw to? I mean, Alvin Kamara has been trying to carry this team as much as he can, and I want to say, I hope Chris Olave is all right. I mean, the guy's had a lot of bad luck. I mean, that hit was really bad, and I want to say I'm kind of a little pissed off at Derek Carr. I mean, as a quarterback, I understand, you guys trying to make a play, but I feel like that was a dangerous throw, and he put Chris Olave in a very dangerous situation. And I just don't really like what he did. Like I said, I understand he's trying to make the play, but you got to protect your wide receivers at the end of the day. And the Falcons, they're a good team. They got a good secondary. I know their pass rush hasn't been great, but combined with that good secondary against the Saints' lack of wide receivers, I'm going to go with the Falcons to win and cover.
Grant?
So, I mean, the Saints, they are pretty, thin at receiver. I mean, it's great for me because I like Rashad Shaheed, but when you look at, the talent that surrounds, Derek Carr, and Derek Carr is a decent quarterback, but when he doesn't have anyone to throw to, that's not good. So I'm going to take the Falcons to win and cover.
You would think after a coaching change that the Saints in this case would get a boost, but the problem is not only the change of the head coach, but then you also trade your cornerback one, Marshawn Lattimore. Your top 2 receivers are still out, and the Falcons have been soaring. Now, division games are weird, but I feel like this one's going to get out of hand early unless the Falcons can contain Alvin Kamara. And who else can step up for the Saints? That's my biggest question mark with this game. I just don't see anybody there. I'm going to take the Falcons laying the 3.5. Nick D's right, though. The hook does scare me. but I'm still gonna take the Falcons there at the Superdome. And Ben.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the Falcons here. The Saints are just way too depleted. And the Falcons they're just a really good team this year, both offensively, defensively. And Kyle Pitts, thanks to it, he's just been really good as of late. So the Saints are just way too depleted. I would consider them if they were fully healthy, but they're just too depleted for them to even consider them going outright. I was considering them maybe taking the points, but I think the Falcons are going to do enough there. So take the money.
And Nick?
All right. So I have a frustration with some people on social media. And two of them one is the brother, and one is the former wide receiver of the Saints who's sitting on the scrap heap with no team right now. And that's Michael Thomas. Michael Thomas needs to keep his mouth shut and stop making opinions off the field. If he's so great and knows what he's doing, why is he not picked up by another team playing football? So he needs to shut his trap and stop talking. Number one. I don't blame Derek Carr as much for that throw. Olave could have gotten hurt on any type of play on the field whatsoever. I understand it was a bad throw. I understand it was a situation where he got sandwiched between two defenders. But that could have happened on a defensive play where a defensive play runs into another player on a kickoff, and you could have got a concussion. So
it's all split-second decisions.
Right. So I can't blame Derek Carr as much. I think Michael Thomas went way over the top. I think he's just angry with the Saints and the way his situation was. His comments were inappropriate and way over the line on social media, number one. And I don't know what his brother is doing on social media, agreeing with some of the weird things that Michael Thomas was saying. So I have a problem with Michael Thomas, and I hope no team ever picks him up again. That's my take right there. I'm taking the Falcons. The Falcons are a better team. The Saints are a dysfunctional mess. I don't blame this on Dennis Allen. It's not his fault. I think it's between the injury of Derek Carr and a lot of the other injuries going on. I think Dennis Allen was the scapegoat in this situation. But the Falcons are a better team. Take the money.
So there we go. All right, let's go to Grant here. Grant, this is Fox's best game of the week. A Kevin Burkhardt, Tom Brady, Aaron Andrews, and Tom Rinaldi special. It's the San Francisco 49ers heading to Raymond James Stadium to take on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and the Niners a 6.5-point favorite.
Okay, so the Bucs have been playing great. Well, the Bucs haven't been playing great. Baker Mayfield has been playing great, but the 49ers defense, the 49ers are getting Christian McCaffrey back this week. He hasn't been, activated yet, but Kyle Shanahan broke that news today that he will be activated tomorrow. So we get to see CMC for the first time. So give me the 49ers to win and cover.
Yeah, if there's any team that needed a bye week more, given at the time when they had one, it was the 49ers. And almost two things are certain with them. They win in the second half of the year, and they win coming off the bye week. And I see more of the same coming on Sunday. You realize that the Niners are an NFL best 23-4 in the second half of the season since 2021. And then you add in the return to McCaffrey. You add in the Bucs that are coming in on a short week after a physical, emotional game Monday night. I think the Niners win and cover it down there at Raymond James. Ben?
I'm going upset. I'm going Tampa. I think with C-Mac back, I think it's going to take time for him to kind of get himself ready and going. And sometimes with teams coming off of a bye, it sometimes takes them a little bit to kind of get going. The Niners this year, guys, have been a lot more vulnerable, and they've been pretty vulnerable on the road. So if you're going to get them, I would say I think Tampa, being Baker, went toe-to-toe with Patrick Mahomes last week. Tampa's been really close in a lot of the games, and I know that obviously that Evans and Chris Godwin are out, but they've still been playing really well offensively. So I don't know. I'm kind of sneaking the upset here.
Nick?
This is an interesting game. One, because I said it last week, the Bucs wide receiver room is trash. Like they have so many injuries. That's a big problem. Baker is keeping Tampa in these games, throwing 300-plus yards, also throwing a lot of picks in the process. I would say CMC is almost like having a late trade deadline deal picking up a guy, putting him back on this team, giving them a little more offensive, making them more offensive juggernaut, giving them some energy to go play. Is he going to be perfect? No, because he's been off the field and he has not played a game. But it changes the strategic value defensively for the Bucs with him being in. So I think that makes them better offensively. It allows the weapons to play better. So I just think having him back on the field makes them a better team, and I think it allows them to cover against the Niners.
Zan?
Yeah, I'm just going to keep it simple. I think the 49ers are the better team, and with one of the best running backs in football back, there's no way they lose, even on the road. And Tampa Bay, they're a good team when they want to be, but it seems that they're just too inconsistent. They can't get over the hump. The Monday night game was a game that they could have won. There were a couple games earlier this year where if they would have won, I think I would feel differently. But San Francisco fully healthy is one of the best teams in football. You can't deny that. So give me the 49ers to win and cover on the road.
Nick D, what do you have?
I like 49ers win, no cover. I think you guys are overlooking the Bucs a little bit. They are 4-5, but they're also the best 4-5 team I've ever seen. They really are, though. They really are the best 4-5 team we've ever seen.
Can you explain to me what that phrase means? The best 4-5 team.
It's quite literally what it means. The best 4-5 team I've ever seen.
But what's the difference? You and I've had this discussion before. We've talked about this. Like and when we get to the Eagles, I'll ask you the same question because we talked about this over the week. Yeah. What does it mean when you say the best 4-5 team?
It means they're really good for a 4-5 team. That's what it means.
Okay. I understand what he means.
That's literally what it means.
What he's saying is that even though their record is below 500, they're competitive. They're competitive every single week. They're in every game.
I mean, is record the only way that you judge how good a team is? Obviously not.
You really can't. You're right.
I don't know. I'm just saying the best 4-5 and the worst 4-5. It's kind of subjective because you're talking about a record.
Well, everything we talk about is subjective.
Everything is subjective.
Everything we talk about is subjective. That's the whole show. The whole show is subjectivity.
Okay.
No, well, I'll say you guys are like forgetting that this is the same team that took the Chiefs to overtime last week. Yeah. And their losses are all fairly good, and they do have a lot of bright spots. There are times when they can score a lot of points, and it's also, like Ben said, it's also McCaffrey's first week back. We don't know how good he's going to be his first week back. I think the Niners probably win, but they don't cover because the Bucs are competitive against everybody. Everybody you put in front of them, they've been competitive.
And it's not like the Niners defense has been lighting up all year this year.
No, it hasn't.
Anthony, what do you have?
Yeah, this is definitely a tough pick that could go either way. I see both sides of everybody's argument. I'm just going to side with the 49ers to win and cover. Even if McCaffrey is not great, just him being on the field alone, he has to be accounted for. Defenses are going to have to know exactly where Christian McCaffrey is on every single play, and that's going to open it up for the rest of the team. And just like we said with the Saints, the Buccaneers are obviously depleted at wide receiver. Mayfield's been doing the best he can to try to carry this team, but obviously he could only do so much. And I feel like this just seems perfectly set up for the 49ers to go on a run, start to get healthy, start to gain some momentum, and start to look like the 49ers team we've seen in seasons past. And I think it starts with this game. So I'm going to go with the 49ers to win and cover.
Right. Then we've got Iron Eagle, Charles Davis, and Evan Washburn on CBS, a battle of division leaders. The 6-2 Pittsburgh Steelers and the 7-2 Washington Commanders. And at Northwest Stadium in the Northeast, the Commanders a field goal favorite.
Yeah, this is an interesting one. Pittsburgh obviously has had a pretty solid year, kind of given everything. But the Commanders they've been great this year. They've been so fun to watch. Jaden Daniels has been absolutely just spectacular to see. I know we talked about Drake May, and I love Drake and Caleb Williams, but I think Jaden Daniels has just been the best of the three right now. The Commanders, they've really taken this team to another level. Of course, they got Marshawn Lattimore at the trade deadline. He won't be playing on Sunday because he's dealing with an injury. But regardless of the fact, I'm going to go with the Commanders here to cover, and they've been a really good team at home as well. So I'm going to go with the Commanders here to cover.
Nick?
Yeah, I've been waiting to do this. Yeah, that's my lock. Commanders are my lock. It's not even a question. Commanders are playing hot football. Jaden Daniels is playing really good football. I know the Steelers have been playing great, but the Commanders are just unbeatable right now. And I just like them at home. Also, they play. I think their splits are way better at home than they are on the road. Also, and Jane Daniels is playing like an MVP almost right now. I think he's going to be Offensive Rookie of the Year. Also, so I think they can win by a touchdown. So Commanders lock.
All right, and Zan.
It's going to shock everybody, but I like Pittsburgh to go on the road and get it done. There's usually one game a year where Mike Tomlin kind of wakes up and realizes that he's in the stretch run of the season and he wins one game that you least expect. This is the week. Give me Pittsburgh to win and cover in the upset on the road.
Nick D.
I like the Commanders. Jaden Daniels has been amazing, especially for a rookie quarterback. Not only is he talented, but he also is very good at avoiding stupid mistakes, which is very rare for young quarterbacks.
Yeah.
Like a lot of times they bring you they give you these roller coaster games. Jaden Daniels doesn't do that. And the Steelers, I think they lack an offense a little bit. Like they lack the ability to make a bunch of explosive plays, unless of course they played the Jets. That's the only time. But the talent gap, and the Commanders, they're still undefeated at home. They still haven't lost a home game. So give me the Commanders.
Anthony, you're muted.
Yeah, Anthony, you're muted.
It's Tony Reality.
My apologies.
That's okay. You're good.
I know when we did our preseason video, one of my bold predictions was there was going to be a rookie quarterback that was going to have a better rookie season than C.J. Stroud. Well, I picked the wrong one because it was Jaden Daniels, not Caleb Williams. Jaden Daniels has been unbelievable. I mean, the guy's an MVP candidate as a rookie. You see guys like Terry McLaurin, who's always been a good receiver. Now he's finally got a quarterback, and now the rest of the country can see how great Terry McLaurin is. They got multiple good running backs. I know Marshawn Lattimore won't be playing in this game, but who on offense really scares you for the Steelers? I know Najee Harris is good and George Pickens is good, but you're really not worried about anybody else. I feel like they can kind of key on those guys. And, I understand both these teams got good records, but I think when we look at this, we look at the Commanders as a great team. I don't know if we necessarily look at the Steelers as a great team. I think their record may be a lot better than what their team actually is. And I know Zan was saying how Mike Tomlin wins these games that he's not supposed to, but I feel like they've already done that multiple times this year. So I feel like this is the perfect game to where, not saying they're going to get exposed, but this is the type of game where there's levels to this, and we're about to see how much of a level the Commanders are above the Steelers. So I got the Commanders to win and cover.
Grant?
Yeah, the Commanders are going to come away with this, win and cover. No explanation needed. Just
hit that money button. There you go. So this is quietly one of my favorite games. I mean, this is probably my favorite game of the week. I mean, it's a very underrated one when you look at the two teams. I have been struggling with this game almost for most of the day, but I'm kind of looking at history here because Mike Tomlin is great coming off the bye week since he's been a Steeler head coach. He also does very well against rookie quarterbacks. And I think also not only Marshawn Lattimore out, Brian Robinson, the running back for the Commanders, is also out. I kind of think that's a big deal. I would have liked to see him in this one too. I also feel like the Commanders are it's so close. It really is. I'm going, but you know what, though? I said I was going to be bold this week, and this is going to take another step towards that. I'm agreeing with Zan. I'm taking the Steelers plus the 3 here in Washington in a very, very exciting game, though. I wouldn't be surprised, actually, even if this is a game where Jaden Daniels outduels Russell Wilson, but the Steelers still find a way to win this game at the end. Because, they still got TJ Watt, who's always a dangerous presence. And I think the Steelers find a way to get that sneaky win. So I'm going to take the Steelers getting the 3 there at Northwest Stadium in the Northeast. All right, so we go from that. We go to the late window. One more fast track game this week. Nick D, we've got Kenny Albert, Jonathan Vilma, and Megan O'Leary on Fox. It's the return of Will Levis for the Tennessee Titans. And they head out to SoFi Stadium to take on Justin Herbert and the Chargers a 7.5-point favorite.
Yeah, I like the Chargers, partly because the Titans are really bad and the Chargers are fairly decent. Also, the Chargers, they don't give up a lot of points, it seems like. They're very good. They don't seem to give up – they're not like that big of a scoring team, but they don't seem to give up a lot of points. And, yeah, this is just an easy game. Chargers by 10 points or more.
All right. Anthony?
Yeah, what a terrible combination. You got Will Levis that always throws the ball to the other team, and you're going against the Chargers, who have been one of the best defenses in all of football. Ladd McConkey has really emerged over the last few weeks. I know the Titans' pass defense has been pretty good. Maybe they can make it a slightly low-scoring game, but I'm going to go with Jim Harbaugh and Justin Herbert and the Chargers to win and cover.
Grant?
Yeah, winning cover. Will Levis is just coming back from a shoulder injury, so he might have a little bit of problems there. But again, like the two guys before me, the Chargers just have too good of a defense to even consider taking the Titans here.
Yeah, not only great defense, but their offense has also been clicking these last couple of weeks too. I think that's a great combination for them. I really wish, though, they went out of the deadline and got a receiver. I thought they were one of the teams that missed an opportunity to get somebody.
I think they were.
Yeah, I really wish they did, though. I said I think they were actually one of the losers at the deadline for not getting that. But the bottom line is their offense is clicking. Their defense has been great all year. The Titan defense is great, but they don't have much on offense. That, to me, equals a Chargers win and cover at SoFi Stadium. Ben.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the Chargers. I mean, heck, we were right there with the Titans last week. Mason Rudolph did not really impress me. It's the more of the fact that we beat ourselves than anything. Yeah, I'm going to go with the Chargers here. They're clicking, and the Titans are really banged up in the secondary, so take the money.
Nick?
Yeah, I'm leaning the same way. And I'm on the record as not liking Herbert and that team whatsoever, but I actually think this is an opposite effect where Will Levis coming back is actually going to make them worse. Usually when you bring back your guy, it's supposed to give you positive momentum. I think it's going to be worse. I think this is going to be a blowout of epic proportions, I feel. I think this could be like a 2 or 3 touchdown game, to be quite honest. So give me the Chargers to cover.
And Zan.
Chargers. I just think Tennessee has nothing going for it right now, and if it replicated what it did against the Bears, they're almost guaranteed to lose. So give me the Chargers.
All right, clean sweep there at SoFi Stadium. All right, before we get to this next game, I heard that we actually have a video.
Oh, the Cowboys, huh?
No, the other one.
Oh, you want to do that one first?
Well,
Okay.
that's the game. That's the game that's coming up. It's on my list next. So, and I think it's only fair because it's your team and they're coming off of a win. So we might as well give them their credit.
All right, here you go, Jet fans.
And there's that fanfare. Oh man. Oh, just lovely. Well, this is a very intriguing game now out at State Farm Stadium. All right, Nick Morganson, I'll go to you here first. Spiro Ditas, Adam Marcelletta, Aditi Kinkabella special on CBS. It is Aaron Rodgers and your Jets against Kyler Murray and the Cardinals, and the Jets a 2-point favorite.
They shouldn't have won last week. The Texans are such a dysfunctional mess. That's why they won. Injuries left and right. Nico Collins finally coming back. CJ Stroud just looked like a rookie last week, and that kind of scared me, and I have him on fantasy, and he completely laid an egg. I think they're going to get smoked by the Cardinals, by the way. I think they're a better offensive team. I think Kyler's going to outrun this defense. I like Marvin Harrison Jr. I just think they have too many weapons. Yeah, take the Cardinals. I have them full upset.
Real original there, by the way. Nick D, what do you have?
I'm also going to go with the Cardinals to win and cover. Well, they're underdogs, so they can't win.
Now they are, yeah. They actually opened up as a favorite. Its line has switched throughout the week.
Yeah, it's crazy because the Jets might actually be favored in all the remaining games that they play, except against Buffalo.
I think you're right. Yeah,
they're going to be favored. So I think the Jets can win this game. Do I think they will win this game? No, I don't. Mainly because, look, I think that was a great win against Houston. It really was a good win. But it's also true that, they're playing at home. And I think that right now, playing against the Cardinals right now on the road is going to be tougher than playing against an injured Texans team at home. So this is going to be a challenge. The other thing is the Cardinals have a lot of weapons. They have a lot of good wide receivers. And the Jets' pass rush was throughout the season at times very suspect.
Kyler Murray can extend plays. And the Jets secondary wasn't great, hasn't been great. Sauce Gardner gets burned all the time. So it's going to be, I think it's going to be very tough. I think the Jets defense is going to have a very tough time against the Cardinals, which is why I like them to, I just really think the Cardinals win this outright.
Zan?
Yeah, I like Arizona. I mean, they basically just ran up and down the field against the Bears, and I think the Jets are just super overrated, and they've been the most overhyped team all year, and they're showing it. They're not even close to going on a run. I don't care who's on their schedule. As long as Rodgers is old and banged up, the Jets aren't a good football team. Give me the Cardinals all day. This was a potential third choice for a lock for me, but I figured that because Rodgers is on the road and it's late in the season, they might play decently well, but the Cardinals will do just enough to win the game. So give me them to win and obviously cover outright, considering they're the underdogs according to this. So,
Ooh, okay. No, I was shocked. He almost was considering a lock in this game. Okay.
Actually, I was thinking about it too.
No, I know, but I mean, just the a possibility. Okay.
Yeah.
Anthony, go ahead.
Yeah, early in the season when I was picking the Jets, they were losing. And then I finally picked against them, and then they want to come out and play well and beat the Texans. So for Jets fans out there, if I pick your Jets, look away because it means they're going to lose. But honestly, they did play good. I know Houston does have injuries, particularly at wide receiver, but Houston does have a good defense, and the Jets offensively did play pretty well. We've seen Garrett Wilson emerge. I mean, the guy went from a few weeks ago having passes bounce off his chest to now looking like Odell Beckham.
He had two one-handed catches.
That was an incredible catches. Incredible
I can catch it here. So, I mean, with him emerging, you got obviously Devontae Adams, who's looking pretty well now. Obviously, he already knows the system. The Jets, obviously, defensively, surprisingly, Sauce Gardner has had his worst year as a pro. I don't know what has happened to him this season, but I don't think the Cardinals have the defense to really shut down these Jets wide receivers. So, surprisingly, I know I may be one of the only ones to do it, but I'm back on the Aaron Rodgers and the Jets train. So, give me the New York Jets to win.
Right.
Wow.
Grant, what do you have here?
Yeah, I just think that everyone that said the Jets are overrated. The Jets are, let's be real, an Aaron Rodgers run team because you don't fire your head coach, you don't trade for Devontae Adams without Aaron having something to say about it. So I'm gonna take the Cardinals to win and cover here.
Yeah, I told you guys this before we started the recording. This is the game I had the toughest time picking this week. Just not even with spread wise, just straight up. Because if you think about it, I trust the Jets through the air more, but I trust the Cardinals on the ground. I'm trying to find another way to lean one way or another. So digging through some research, and there's one other thing that made my decision on this, and that's penalties. The Cardinals have committed 41 penalties. The Jets have committed 72, which is among the worst in the league this year. I think that's I got to pick the team that I think is going to be less likely to commit self-inflicting errors. I'm taking the Cardinals plus the 2 there at State Farm.
It's also worth noting the Cardinals players carry the ball over the goal line.
Oh my gosh!
Nice.
I think Morganson would have had a coronary if they didn't win that game 10 days ago.
I was there. How do you think I felt?
He was actually at the game.
Oh, you were there.
Yeah.
How bad was it? Real quick.
You could feel the oxygen come out of the stadium once they saw the replay on the video.
There would have been a reaction video of all reaction videos if that was overturned.
You were waiting for it too.
Yeah.
All right, good. Well, at least they saved you a heart attack for this week, at least. All right, Ben, you can wrap us up here. What do you have?
Yeah, I'm rolling with the Cardinals upset train here. One thing about the Cardinals is they've been a really good home team. And the Jets haven't really played a lot of games in the West Coast. Their only time that they lost in the West Coast was to a NFC West team, and that was the 49ers. So the Jets have been able to play who they've obviously been playing, but they've been playing a lot on the East Coast and more on the Midwest. They really haven't had to travel a lot across country, and I think that will affect them in a game like this. The Cardinals has been a really good team. The Jets defense gave a ton on the ground last week. The Cardinals, with their mobility of Kyler Murray and the rushing attack of James Conner, I think we'll get it done. I think it's going to be a close one, though. The Jets, I think, will be able to move the football, but I just don't trust their rushing defense in this one. So I'm going to have the Cardinals here as the upset special.
All right. So that means Anthony's the only one taking the Jets then, right?
I'm shocked.
So, all right. So Anthony's taking the
My
road.
first lone wolf of the season, and it has to be on the Jets.
Yes.
Let's just say
road less traveled.
Let's just say I didn't expect that.
Which means, of course, everybody but Anthony, it's going to be a flip-flop because he, of course, will have them to win, but the Jets lose. And the Cardinals, yeah, I guess.
Well, I guess the way we can even that out is if the Jets win by a point. How's that?
Can we get the meme where you see like the scientific figures floating above, or GIF where it's just floating above the head because you have no idea what the equation is? That would be the best way to describe that.
All right, we have one more video this week, right?
Yes, we do. And this one should be all too familiar.
But you want to talk about dysfunction?
Oh, what? What'd you say?
I said, speaking of, you want to talk about, you think the Jets are dysfunctional. Well, they pale in comparison to this team.
All right, here we go.
How about them? How about them? How about them Cowboys? How about them? How about them? How about them Cowboys? How about them? How about them? How about them Cowboys?
Talk about embarrassing. Oh my gosh.
Did you see the quote at the bottom?
I really couldn't make that out. I couldn't stop listening to Tom and that photo.
Apparently, it was a quote about from Skip Bayless, basically saying like Jerry all up in my. Yeah.
Oh jeez. There's a visual I'll imagine throughout the weekend. All right. Well, Zan, we'll go to you here. Jim Nantz, Tony Romo, Tracy Wolfson special on CBS. It is Jalen Hurts and the Eagles going up against not Dak Prescott. He got put on IR this week. It's Cooper Rush and the Dallas Cowboys. And at AT&T Stadium, it's the Eagles laying over a touchdown.
Yeah, I'm sorry. This is a joke. The line should be more. The Eagles obviously, got out of the Jacksonville game somehow. It was a scary sight, and I'm just still pissed at them because I had the Eagles as my lock, and they were up 22, and they couldn't even cover they couldn't even cover whatever the spread was. I think
it was literally a rout for most of the game.
It was so stupid. So I get a lock screwed out of me. But even so, though, I like the Eagles here. Dallas is a dysfunctional mess, and I got to pick the Eagles here because Jalen Hurts is my fantasy quarterback. So they better win and cover this week.
Nick D?
Yeah, I got to go with the Eagles because the Cowboys are just too injured without Dak and CeeDee Lamb. I mean, what expectations can we even have of them? I mean, they were bad enough with them, but how much worse are they going to be now? I can see the Eagles, though, giving a scare. I think they're going to blow a big lead again. I think that's probably going to happen. They're probably going to go blow a big lead, but I still think they're going to cover.
I think CeeDee Lamb is playing Sunday.
Thank God.
Yeah.
Yeah,
okay.
He is.
Yeah. So,
but Cooper Rush is the quarterback.
But Cooper Rush is, yeah, and I don't know if you can expect.
Hey, he's got like a 5-1 record.
Yeah, I think that Cowboys team was a little bit different, though.
I think the Eagles will be prepared for Cooper Rush.
Yeah, I agree.
Anthony, what do you have?
Yeah, I know the Eagles almost choked that game away. I feel like there was points in that game where they were being a little too aggressive. They should have won that game easily. But honestly, if you look at their win streak, their defense has been the thing that's been most improved. One thing for the Eagles, A.J. Brown has had a tough time staying healthy. That's key because when he's in there, the offense is night and day. But I can't trust the Cowboys. They're already depleted on defense, and now they're starting to be depleted on offense. They got nothing going right for them. The Eagles are actually seeming to be a trending team. This division seems like it's going to come down to two teams between the Commanders and the Eagles. 100%. And right now it looks like the Cowboys should start preparing for the draft the next season. So give me the Eagles to win and cover.
Graham, what do you have?
Eagles will win and cover. I mean, honestly, Nick, I wouldn't take this with a grain of salt, but I would consider actually benching CeeDee Lamb because of Cooper Rush, because I have not seen him throw the ball, so I wouldn't trust him with CeeDee Lamb or any.
Hey, I need that guy
on the Cowboys. That's why I said take it with a grain of salt, because I knew you weren't going to listen.
Okay, so you're taking the cover. Okay.
Oh, guys, I see Nick D. I think you said it there. I got Dallas covering this game. First of all, the big equalizer. You know what the big equalizer in this game is? Nick Sirianni's coaching. That's exactly why I'm taking Dallas to cover this spread. I mean, my God, it's what Sirianni.
He's a disgrace to the name.
He is awful. By the way, he is. They're winning in spite of him. And if the Eagles don't make a deep run this year, I think he's going to get fired.
I think so too.
I really do. I mean, that's why I've made this statement that I will take Brian Dable over Nick Sirianni because you know what? Nick Sirianni is doing less with more while Dable's doing more with less. That has nothing to do with this, but in terms of this game, he's the ultimate equalizer. He's good for 3-4. He's good for a few points on the other side. So as great as Philadelphia's defense is, he's the worst part of it. So I think Dallas finds a way to backdoor cover this game, and that's what I'm going to do. So I still think the Eagles are going to win. There's no way I don't think they lose this game, but I think the Cowboys are going to make this close, and maybe there is a little bit of a Cooper Rush bump in this one. But there's no way I could take the boys to win with how depleted they are. But boy, Sirianni, I mean, first of all, he's freaking lying about Jalen Hurts' the injury status too this week if he's caught that. So
I did see that.
Yeah, I mean, if that was anybody else, they'd be getting fined or something. Just saying. So I'll take the Cowboys plus the 7.5 in this one, Ben.
Yeah, I love the Eagles. The biggest thing about this game is the coaching on both sides is a disaster. So I think that kind of evens out. Mike McCarthy is a mess. Nick Sirianni is a mess. But the Eagles, what do they do best? Run the football. What do the Cowboys do worst at? Stopping the run. So I think specifically Saquon Barkley is going to absolutely tear them apart. Even though I was seeing here in this week that the Cowboys absolutely have owned Saquon Barkley. Yeah, because he was with the Giants. The Giants specifically didn't have great teams when they faced against them. This Eagles team is totally different. They're a lot better of a team despite Nick Sirianni, and that's why I don't think the Eagles are going to be a Super Bowl team because of their coach. So that's another story for another day. Still, though, take the money here for the Eagles.
And Nick, what do you have?
I have to say one thing. I think this coach take thing is absolutely ridiculous, in my opinion. The whole thing we're talking about how Nick Sirianni is the whole reason that they might lose, and this whole thing is ridiculous. The coach makes the strategy for the games. So you're going to tell me that he has no credit in winning these games whatsoever and that he's burning the team out? Is that what you're telling me?
No, I'm telling you that he's cost this team a lot.
He makes terrible.
Well,
he makes a lot of very bad
especially last year, they had the NFC East locked up and they couldn't finish it.
But I feel like this is the whole thing. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead, Anthony. Go ahead.
I think he can coach, but the way he coaches is absolutely hurting them in different situations where it doesn't have to be.
Yeah, but my question is, if they were way under 500, he'd be gone, right? And we'd be blaming him. But you're blaming him for being 7-2. I don't understand.
They're supposed to be 7-2. They're supposed to be a really good team.
And the coach has no.
Well, they're a very talented team. They were supposed to be. You can't just take that context and be like, well, they're 7-2. That means he's a great coach.
No, I didn't say that. But to blame him for some of this stuff is kind of asinine.
Some of it is just so obviously his fault.
And you can blame Zan for missing Zan's lock last week.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I think that they pulled a little bit of a Pittsburgh Steelers.
To be fair, Mike McCarthy's probably no better.
No, I know. I agree with you.
Yeah,
I think they're both. I think they're both gone after this year.
And I think McCarthy is getting scapegoated partially too.
And by the way, from the way Sirianni's been coaching, I have a feeling the Eagles are not going to make a run. That's what I think.
Well, I mean, they'll make the playoffs because they're 7-2.
Well, that's not the issue. But if they lose in the first round, there's a good chance Sirianni's fired.
Right. It's losing in the first round too.
I don't know. I just think it's ridiculous that we're blaming a coach when they're 7-2. That's just my opinion of it. I just think it's ridiculous the way that sounds.
But are you not factoring in last year? They literally choked in November and December.
Yeah.
It's no different than it's kind of no different than who's the Brandon Staley out there with the Chargers when they were winning, when they were doing well. And he was still.
I don't think they ever had a chance.
But I mean, they still had great records too, and despite the fact that he was coaching and made goof.
I don't think we should ever put Brandon Staley and Nick Sirianni in the same sentence.
Thank
you.
I'm
not putting them in the same sentence.
I actually don't think that's unfair.
Oh
Wow.
no, I think that's
I don't
really
think that's
unfair.
unfair at all. I
That's
think it's a very
really
I
unfair.
think it's a totally fair comparison that Joe
No,
made.
it's not. Are you
It's
kidding
a
me?
totally
No, it
fair
isn't.
comparison. I'm not
No
saying it's
way.
exactly the
In
same,
the
but
beginning,
it's a fair
Brandon
comparison.
Staley's teams were extremely talented and won 10,
Yeah.
11 games every
Nick
year.
Sirianni is 10 times a better coach than Brandon Staley.
Well,
100%.
that's because
agree.
Brandon
Records
Staley,
don't indicate that,
anybody
though.
can be 10 times better than 0.1.
Yes, I mean, yeah, he's better than Nick Sirianni. That's not saying it's better than Brandon.
I don't know. I just think it's hard to get on a coach when they're 7-2. That's my opinion. That's how I look at it.
you'll be getting on the coach of the Jets were 7-2, and they were still
Yeah.
making mistakes too.
I don't know about that,
Yes, you
but
would.
it's not a bad point. Well, considering the way you rip the Jets every single week, even
they're
when
a
they
bad team.
even when they play well, though.
They shouldn't have won last week.
Oh, see,
Well,
that's
you say that every
the
time the Jets
thing.
win,
It's-
though. They
He does
won.
this with the Jets and the Giants all the time. If they do great, it's the other team. If they play great, he's the first one to go to with it. So,
Wait, what?
as far as what I'm saying is if the Giants and the Jets both played great, it would be because of the other team that played bad. If they both lost, you would kill them to smithereens.
Hey,
I don't know about
he's not wrong.
I don't
Yeah,
know if that's
that's true.
100% accurate, but
No, it is. You look at
No,
the
it
chat in
is.
the last 3 years.
maybe. I don't know. But my point is I would take the Eagles to cover here. I don't think it's going to be close. I think Cooper Rush is the big difference in this game. Take the Eagles to cover.
There we go. All right, Anthony, Mike Tirico, Chris Collinsworth, Melissa Stark special on Sunday Night Football on NBC. It is Jared Goff and the Lions, a 3.5-point favorite heading to NRG Stadium to take on CJ Stroud and the Houston Texans.
Wow, what a great game. I know Nico Collins was activated. I'm not sure if he's going to play or not. Obviously, even if he plays, he won't be 100%. Just him being on the field, though, obviously, is going to help. He could kind of be like a decoy, and the defense is still going to have to account for him. I know the Texans have a great defense. They've been playing really well. I know they're coming off of a loss, but the Lions, man, they're just they're a juggernaut right now, and they just traded for Zadarius Smith, so they're going to get some pass rush help after losing Aiden Hutchinson. Their secondary's been really good. Like I said before, Jared Goff can't miss a throw. He's completing every single pass. Their two running backs have been phenomenal, Gibbs and Montgomery. St. Brown and the receivers have been unbelievable. Ben Johnson, maybe the best offensive play caller and coordinator in the league. This team can't be stopped right now. And I think maybe if Nico Collins was fully healthy, maybe I'd pick the Texans at home in the upset. But with the way this Lions team is playing, until they lose, I'm not going to pick against them. So I'm going to go with the Lions to win and cover.
By the way, quick update status on the injury report. Collins and Dell both questionable going into the game.
And I don't think Zadarius Smith is ready to play on Sunday, if I read that correctly. I could be wrong. Is that true?
I don't see his name on the injury report.
I don't think it's in the injury report. I think they're talking because it might be too quick of a turnaround. Let me just double check that. While I do that, Grant, what do you have?
Yeah, I mean, the Lions are just one of the powerhouses in the NFC, so I'm going to take the Lions to win and cover.
All right, I'll have to double check that. Yeah, I'm going bold. I'm going with the Texans plus 3.5 here. I think because they're desperate. They are desperate. I know the Lions have been doing great, but the Texans have 3 extra days to prepare for this one. It's the second straight road game for Detroit. And look, there's no question the Lions have been absolutely fantastic. Jared Goff is putting together a year like no other, but the Texans have got to show me something here. I think this is the opportunity to do it at home. So let's see them do it here. Give me the Texans plus the 3.5 at NRG Stadium. Ben?
Yeah, I love the Lions here. The Texans obviously have been a really fun team all year. Problem I worry about with the Texans is their offensive line. They've really had a hard time for the last couple of weeks. The Lions have a really good defensive front, and yes, they might get their weapons back, but CJ Stroud's been a lot more vulnerable this year, and against a really good defensive front, I do worry about that. The offense for the Lions, too, their running game has bbeen absolutely spectacular. I thought that the Jets at times were able to run the football pretty well last week against that Texans team. Yeah, I'm going to go with the Lions to win, but I think the Texans will cover. I think it's going to be right around a 3-point game.
All right, Nick, what do you have?
Nick
Morganson. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay.
Okay. I have the Lions. My main concern is CJ Stroud. He's not looked great. the past couple weeks. I think that goes to something Ben said with the offensive line, really not giving him enough time to throw the football. I think that's a huge problem. And he's not escaping the pocket, so he's getting sacked way more in the last couple of weeks, which is kind of a really scary concern for me. And also with the questions with Dell and Collins, I just think the Lions are going to win. I think it'll be close, but I think it'll be a touchdown game at most. So I'm going to take the Lions to cover.
So the Lions are unsure if Zadarius Smith will make his debut
Questionable.
as of right now. Yeah. So that's what I was looking at. That's what I thought. It's not a guarantee yet, but we'll see. Zan?
Yeah, I'm going to roll with you on the same wavelength, Johnny. I think that Houston, was played well, on national TV earlier in the season, and some of the Texans always seem to show up for these big games against good teams, especially an intra-conference game like one against Detroit. I think that this is the game where C.J. Stroud gets out of his little slump, but I actually think they win a very exciting game, and I actually think it goes to overtime and Houston wins. So I think Detroit is due for a letdown. They played really well the last month. Jared Goff is not really throwing interceptions, which is a good thing. But I think that Detroit is just due for a game not to play very well before they try to do their thing to do everything they can to win the NFC North. So this is the one game where they need a wake up call before November gets really interesting.
All right, and Nick D.
Yeah, I really like the Lions. The Lions are the best team in the NFL right now. I mean, there's really just no two ways about it. They've been incredible. They're winning all of these games, most of them, other than the game against the Vikings, by like 2 scores or more in most of these games recently, and some of them against good teams. And they can beat you in every way. They have the best offensive line in the NFL, probably. Jared Goff's completed like 75% of his passes. They have a very good defense. They can beat you in every possible way. They're great in every aspect. And the Texans have a lot of flaws. Their offensive line has not been good. C.J. Stroud, as Nick said, C.J. Stroud's been sacked more often. And they're not great defensively, Houston. So, yeah, everything about this screams Lions. Everything about this.
One more game, Grant. A Joe Buck, Troy Aikman, Lisa Salters special on Monday Night Football on ESPN. It's Tua Tagovailoa and the Dolphins and Matt Stafford and the Rams. And at SoFi Stadium, the Rams are 1-point favorite.
I don't know what the reason is, but the Dolphins have been really struggling as of late, and so I'm going to take the Rams to cover and win.
Yeah. Grant, I'll tell you why they're struggling. Their defense is not good at all right now. They've gotten a boost offensively with Tua, which is great, but now they can't stop anybody. And you look at the Rams here, the Rams defense, led by a lot of young players, has been playing great. Their offense, since they got Puka Nacua and Cooper Kupp back, have been outstanding. I actually think this could be a high-scoring game, but I love the Rams at home. The only thing that really kind of worries me a little bit is why they're only a 1-point favorite. I don't know if I'm looking a little too deep into that, but to me, the Rams can score, especially since they're healthy, and they can stop players. And right now, the Dolphins cannot stop anybody. You look at their last 2 weeks. I mean, they've given up 28 to the Cardinals and 30 to the Bills. I know they've scored 27 in back-to-back, but they may score 20-something here, but they'll give up 30-something. That's why I'm going to take the Rams at home Monday night.
Yep.
What about you, Ben?
Yeah, I think it's going to be a shootout game too, like most of these Monday night games have been this year. And I think whoever has the ball last is going to win the game. And I think Matt Stafford is one of the best 2-minute quarterbacks in the NFL, especially when his team is trailing. And even though Tua is back and he's playing the best he can, I think Miami's too much of a dysfunctional mess to salvage their season. So give me the Rams.
Ben, what do you have?
I like the Rams too. They're at home. The Dolphins haven't been good at all defensively. And Kyron Williams, I think, is one of the only 1 or 2 running backs that has scored in every single game.
Yeah, he's on one of my fantasy teams, and he's done me wonders. I'm one in a way in one of my leagues from clinching a playoff spot, and he's a major reason why. So
yeah, he's a stud. I'm not surprised. But yeah, the Dolphins, they have a good offense, but defense wins you games. They're just not winning defensively. Matt Stafford's been really good, at least the last couple of weeks here. So yeah, give me the Rams.
Nick?
Yeah, I like the Rams in this one. I'll give Tua credit. He looked halfway decent in last game. They just lost it defensively. This is now a team of Tua's going to have to outscore the defense every game now. That's the way I see this team. And unfortunately, that's going to come back to bite you at some point because you can't be perfect and throw for every touchdown out there on the field. And against a Rams team that's playing somewhat well, that's a disaster. Give me the Rams to cover.
All right, from one Nick to the other. Nick, go ahead.
Yeah, I totally agree. The Dolphins, their defense, they give up a lot of points, and yeah, basically Tua has to basically outscore what their defense gave up every week, and that's not always going to work. And the Rams are soaring. They're definitely on the up ever since because early in the season they were injured a lot. Now everybody's back, and the Rams are just going to be too tough, I think. And
Yeah.
the Rams are going to put up, I think, a lot of points, and the Dolphins are just not really great right now, it looks like.
Nope.
They just lost 2 games in a row, and I think the Rams are an easy pick.
By the way, they gave up 58 points total their last 2 games.
Yeah, they gave up a lot this year. I'd be very curious. I think they got to have like a very significant minus point differential.
Their secondary has been getting cooked.
Yeah, Anthony, you go ahead, wrap us up here.
Yeah, I know if you look at both these teams record-wise, you would think, stay away from this game, don't watch it. But honestly, I think this is a great game to watch. It's going to be a shootout. It's going to be very exciting. The Rams, obviously, defensively, their young players have been emerging over the last couple of weeks. But when I look at these 2 teams, I look at one team in the Dolphins who, Tua's been playing really well, and the defense has let him down. But they pretty much have had back-to-back games where they could have won, and they lost it right at the end. You look at the Rams on the other opposite end, they played 2 really close games and were able to come out with the win. And we know when you get these one-possession games, they could go either way. Sometimes you'll win a bunch of them, and then sometimes you'll lose a bunch of them. And I just feel like this is set up exactly with that point spread to where the Dolphins could go out, win a close game, and the Rams finally, don't end up on the lucky end of it. So the Rams are obviously trending on a win streak, and the Dolphins are on a losing streak. So I think this is going to be another lone wolf pick for me. I think the Dolphins don't lose this one at the end, and I think Tua has another good game. So give me the Dolphins.
Man, you're gonna have 2 or 3. You're gonna be the lone wolves clip this week.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, a lot of very intriguing football.
Well,
Friday.
I was almost a lone wolf with Pittsburgh, and then Johnny, you came in and stole my thunder a little bit.
Yeah, sorry, Zane.
I thought that it was going to be the only one to have Pittsburgh.
The lone wolf pick's going to be a little busy this week. Let's just put it that way. Before we wrap it up, I forgot to give the point totals so far. So I'm in the lead with 182. Anthony has 177. Zan and Pat have 171. Nick D has 170. Tom has 165, and Ben with 155. So we're all like in the mix there.
Oh, yeah, we're all in the mix for sure.
So that'll do it for this episode. Make sure you follow us on social media at TFB Forecast, ETB, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. Like I said, Thursday night, Sunday night, Monday Night Football, Locks of the Week, Lone Wolf of the Week, Crybaby of the Week. You'll get all that. You might see a Cowboys one in there this week. So make sure you check that all out as well. YouTube.com/ETB Network, where you find all our individual shows and this show as well. So make sure you go subscribe, hit the notification bell. Make sure you get all our notifications to know when this show and every other show drops as well. And if you can't watch all the madness that goes on the video side, listen to us wherever you get your podcast. If you're out for a jog, you're out for a run, or you lost a bet and you need to listen to something loud, then put this on too. So, there you go. And obviously, Football Forecast presented by Playback as well. Working on some streams for the NBA. We'll give you some more notice on streams when they come up as well. All right. Any final thoughts before we get out of here? No?
I hope I'm wrong about my Jets pick, but other than that.
Okay.
Well, I'll say this. The first half, there's still so much that we don't know. And that's where this week and the weeks going forward are going to be very, very cool to watch because I really don't know, really. We know the Chiefs are undefeated, but they still show something that's like, well, I don't know. I couldn't tell you who the best teams are right now. That's the thing. I think it's as wide open as we've seen it in quite.
That's good football when we don't have obvious teams at the top.
Absolutely, I think it's like that in the pros and in college too. So it should be a fun full day Sunday and Monday, and we'll see what happens when we come back here next week. And hopefully, I'll have a voice by then.
Yeah. So enjoy Week 10. Enjoy the football games. We'll be back for Week 11 next week. For everybody here at the ETB Network, have a good day, and we will see you next week.
Go Bills.